I couldn't stop texting them, even after they ghosted me for days, even after they humiliated me in front of my friends, even after I swore I was done. I still answered. And you have too, haven't you? You don't call it addiction, you call it loyalty. You call it unfinished business. But what if I told you, the reason you can't stop isn't emotional, it's chemical. This isn't a relationship. It's a trauma bond, and your body is stuck in it. This video will show you exactly how that bond was built, how it hijacked your nervous system, how I broke mine, and how you will too. Because if you think you're missing them, you're not. You're missing the relief that came after the abuse, the apology, the sudden warmth, the "I miss you" text after silence. You felt loved, but that wasn't love. That was dopamine. What they're using against you is called intermittent reinforcement. It's the most addictive reward cycle in all of psychology. It's how casinos hook gamblers. It's how cults keep members loyal. And it's how your ex trained you to chase crumbs. They ignore you for days, then give you 5 minutes of sweetness. They explode, then cry. They disappear, then drop "you up" at 3 a.m. You think they're unstable. They're not. They're predictable. And your brain? It's addicted to the random relief after chaos. So no, this isn't weakness. This isn't you being dramatic. This is psychological conditioning, reinforced by chemical spikes in dopamine, oxytocin, and cortisol. And if you don't break the loop, you won't just keep texting them. You'll start believing this is what love is supposed to feel like. That's the real trap. And we're going to break it, right now. Let me ask you something. When you're with them, do you even recognize yourself anymore? You weren't loved. You were mirrored. They studied you. Your insecurities, your likes, your pain points. They became everything you wanted, so they could become everything you feared. This isn't love. This is identity theft in a toxic relationship. At first, it felt like magic. We're the same person, you said. They were collecting data. Because the moment you felt safe, they rewrote the script. You're too sensitive. You're acting crazy. You're exhausting. And slowly, you stopped being you. You spoke softer. You laughed less. You apologized for things you didn't even do. That's not adaptation. That's false self-collapse. They didn't love you. They loved control. This is called projective identification, a manipulation tactic where the abuser assigns you a role and punishes you if you step out of character. Try to set a boundary, you're difficult. Call them out, you're toxic. Get distant, you're abandoning them. But if you become smaller, quieter, compliant, suddenly they call you perfect. That's not love, that's role-based gaslighting. And every time you shrink to keep the peace, your body learns. Discomfort is love. Silence is safety. That's why even their compliments feel confusing. You don't feel loved, you feel monitored. You feel like if you say the wrong thing, the mask will drop. Because it will. You're not in a relationship. You're in psychological theater. And the longer you stay, the more you become a stranger to yourself. But the next part of this video, it's going to show you the next twist they've built in. How they use apologies to reinforce the role you're stuck in. That moment they cried, held you, said, "I messed up. I didn't mean it. I want to change." You felt relief, but that wasn't healing. That was your body dropping cortisol and clinging to oxytocin. It didn't mean the abuse stopped. It meant the trauma bond just got reinforced. This is apology manipulation. It's part of the emotional abuse cycle. And you've been trained to confuse relief with recovery. They don't apologize to heal. They apologize to reset. So next time they ghost you, it won't sting as much, because in the back of your head you'll think, but they always come back. That's not trust. That's conditioning. They don't say sorry because they're ready to grow. They say sorry because you've proven it works. That text you replayed 50 times, The one that said, "You didn't deserve that." That was a trigger phrase. It's not closure, it's a hook. If you reply, if you melt, if you give in, they know the game still works. Because in a toxic relationship, "I'm sorry" doesn't mean accountability. It means access. And the more you believe the apology, the less power you have when they repeat it. Because it's coming. And when it does, ask yourself, if they meant it, why does it keep happening? That's what I had to ask myself. Because the truth is, every apology I believed made the next one easier to send. I wasn't healing. I was being programmed. So are you. And in the next part of this video, I'll show you exactly how they weaponize confusion itself. So you don't just question them, you start questioning yourself. 1 hour they ghost you, the next they love bomb you, then they blame you for reacting. You ask questions, you're paranoid. You set boundaries, you're too much. You're not overthinking. You're being gaslit. They're not inconsistent. They're running a system. And the name of that system is confusion. Confusion is the cage. Because when nothing is clear, when right and wrong keep shifting, you stop trusting your own instincts. And once they take your instincts, they don't need to take anything else. You'll doubt yourself. You'll defend them. You'll blame your emotions. And eventually, you'll stop resisting. This is called learned helplessness. It happens when repeated emotional contradiction breaks your sense of control. You ask, why does this hurt, but also feel familiar? Because your nervous system now associates chaos with intimacy. They've trained you to crave stability from the same person who keeps destabilizing you. That's not love, that's a trauma-based reality distortion. If you find yourself replaying the fight just to make sure you weren't too dramatic, if you're always bracing for their next mood swing, if you apologize when you're the one crying, that's not accountability. That's emotional captivity, and the longer you stay inside that fog, the more normal it starts to feel. You don't just live with confusion, you adapt to it, and then you forget it's a problem. That's the final goal, not to hurt you, but to make you accept the hurt as reality. But now, you keep saying you're fine, but your body says otherwise, because even when they're not yelling, your chest is tight. Even when they're smiling, your hands are clenched. Even on good days, you can't relax. That's not mood, that's memory. Your body remembers the trauma your brain tries to forgive. You flinch when your phone buzzes. You panic when they go quiet. You sleep with your jaw locked. That's not overthinking. That's hypervigilance. This is what happens in long-term emotional abuse. Your nervous system learns to prepare for impact, even when no impact is coming. Your brain starts saying, maybe this time it'll be different, but your gut knows better. This is the biology of trauma bonding. Cortisol spikes around their presence. Oxytocin kicks in when they apologize. Dopamine floods when they stop being cruel. You don't feel safe. You feel relieved, and only briefly. Then it starts again. And here's the trap. The more your body adapts to stress, the less you recognize how toxic it actually is. You start blaming your job, your sleep, yourself. But deep down you know. You weren't always like this. You didn't always feel exhausted, number easily triggered, foggy. This is trauma stored in the nervous system. This is what it means when they say, the body keeps the score. You're not just emotionally hurt, you're physiologically hijacked, and you can't talk your way out of that. You have to reprogram it. You need somatic healing. You need distance from the source. You need practices that teach your body. I'm safe now. But here's the real gut punch. Your body doesn't believe you're safe, because every time it started to heal, you let them back in. And now, your body is screaming for what your heart keeps ignoring. In the next part of this video, I'll give you the exact steps I used to start regulating again. Because trauma doesn't end when the relationship ends. It ends when your body finally stops bracing for impact. You need strategy, because this isn't a breakup. It's a behavioral reset. What you're trying to survive isn't heartbreak. It's withdrawal from psychological reinforcement. So here's how I broke my trauma bond, step by brutal step. Step 1. The 72-hour no contact rule. Not minimal contact, not just checking on them. Zero access. Why? Because trauma bonds thrive on small reinforcements. A story view, a reaction, a breadcrumb. Break those and the craving spikes. But that spike, that's your nervous system begging for the familiar. And if you hold the silence, that's your first neurochemical win. Step 2. Block hard texts, socials, voicemails, memories. Don't archive it. Delete it. You don't need access to closure. You need access to reality. Step 3. Regulate daily. Your brain was trained to expect pain. So now you need to train it for peace. 4-7-8 breath resets your vagus nerve. Cold face dips or neck splashes reduce panic. Grounding, touch real textures. Move your body. Walk, don't scroll. This is your nervous system reset protocol. Step 4. Truth wall. Make a list of what they actually did to you. Not what they said, what they did. Print it, tape it, read it every time your brain says, but what if they've changed? Because here's the real danger. You're not trying to get them back. You're trying to get back the illusion they created. And illusions don't heal you. They re-injure you. Step 5. Track your first win. One urge resisted. One boundary held. One morning you didn't check their feed. That's not small. That's proof your system is shifting. Because healing from a toxic relationship isn't about moving on. It's about retraining your body to stop chasing chaos. And the next part of this video, it's going to hit you hard. Because even after all this, they'll come back. And what you do then changes everything. They will come back. Not if, when. And the second they feel your silence, the second they sense you're not spiraling, that's when it begins. I've been thinking about you. You didn't deserve how I acted. I've changed. Let's talk. This is called hoovering, the most common manipulation tactic after a breakup. They test your silence with softness because they know pain doesn't pull you back. Hope does. And if you respond, you don't go back to the beginning. You go deeper into the trap because now they've confirmed your code. They know exactly how much cruelty you'll tolerate and exactly what kind of softness makes you forget it. You're not giving them another chance. You're giving them a map of your psychological weak points. And if you fall for it again, they won't even have to try next time because they know, even when she gets strong, she still comes back. That's not recovery. That's relapse. And don't tell yourself, maybe they're serious this time. If they were serious, they'd leave you alone to heal. Real change doesn't demand attention. Real change doesn't beg for comfort from the person it broke. This isn't about closure. This is about control. So when that message comes, you don't open it. You don't decode it. You don't make it deep. You delete it. Because the version of you who replied last time, she didn't know this truth yet, but you do now. You don't owe them dialogue. You don't owe them access. You owe yourself protection. This is the relapse window. And how you respond rewires everything. You can let this message undo months of growth, or you can let it prove the loop is broken. Download the checklist. Tape it where your hope tries to lie. Walk away before they re-script you again. They know your role, but only you get to choose your ending.